Your team is called the Porch Light Group, right? Can you hear me, Mark? Can't hear you.
All right. Starting off.
There we go.
Now? All right. No
Yes.
AirPods for me, so I'm putting these away. Porchlight Realty. Yes, that's my team name.
Porchlight.
We're based out of San Diego, and I've got a couple groups around the country.
Your team is called the Porch Light Group,
a couple
right?
different cities, but San Diego is our main kind of headquarters.
Awesome. Well, we've had a lot of success with these lighted up webinars, bringing back some of our best podcast. Getting some interference on my end. It's bringing back some of our best podcast guests to do and lead a webinar. So obviously it was an easy decision to have you come back. If you guys don't know Mark, he's one of the reasons, him and Colton are one of the reasons that we went over to EXP, Colton Whitney. Huge mentors to us, helping us grow our business each and every year. In addition to running a team that's going to do 1,000 transactions this year, Mark's got a lot of other things on his plate, right? You have an insurance company. I know you're doing a bunch of Airbnbs. I know you're always doing a whole bunch of flips. You guys just opened up a coffee shop. So there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of stuff that we could talk about today, but I'll let you take the lead and maybe just give a quick introduction, anything I missed there, and we'll go from there.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me back. And basically, kind of summed it up, John. Thank you. Got a bunch of different businesses. And essentially what I was thinking is when I'm building out my businesses, I'm like, okay, if I run the real estate team, which was my core focus, Porchlight Realty, then why are we passing off escrow or title or, if we come across a flip, why aren't we just doing it ourselves? So I know it all kind of seems if you're starting from scratch, but it's little by little and you kind of just take over one thing over the next and it just all blends really well together. So I kind of have what I call like a WeWork within my building. So our building, I own it. It's going to be developed into a hotel. So that's going to be another company that we have is a development company. And then also the hotel we're going to own and operate as well. So the location I'm at currently, there's probably about maybe like 30 offices, and each office is rented out either to my agents or to one of my companies or to an ancillary service or maybe even a vendor. So when you walk into my office, it kind of feels like a WeWork. That's what I was kind of getting the reference to, but That's essentially how we run our business and how I'm able to play everything off of each other so that we're not letting clients, slip through the cracks. We ultimately have a solution for everyone.
Awesome, man. Well, I haven't been out there to see it in person yet, but that's definitely on my goal board for this year to come out and see you and check out the office. And
don't come in May or June. Whenever you visit San Diego, just FYI to everyone, May is May gray and June is June gloom. So anyone who comes and visits, they're like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, it's pretty cloudy, which sucks. But so come visit like August, September, October is amazing. So anytime you want to come out, and anyone that's watching the podcast or this kind of chat, you're more than welcome to come out, shadow our office. And, I learned from you guys as much as that I could, hopefully teach you from what I've learned. And it's just kind of a community vibe with real estate. We're always happy to help each other out.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about how you got started. Were you a solo agent at first? Have you always had a team? And then I think we can sort of we'll go into the team a little bit. And then if we have some time at the end, we could talk more about like the ancillary services, the flipping company, the construction company and such.
And then how long is this podcast? Just so
we're on here for an hour.
An hour? Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So essentially what it is all about, I started out in real estate, and this conversation will not go on for an hour, but started out in real estate. I was moving to Southern California for the sunshine. I was like, I want to be in Southern California. I'm Seattle born and raised, shit weather. Moved to Chicago, even crappier weather. And I said, I'm done with this. I'm going to move to Southern California and become a real estate agent. I didn't have a car. I didn't have my real estate license. I didn't know one person in the city. And I moved here 10 years ago, got my license. In California. It takes a little bit of time. So I got my license online. I was bartending and I was working at Nordstrom when I first got my license. So I worked worked at Nordstrom in college in Seattle, and it was an easy hire. I was working there, and these guys came in and started shopping, and I ended up selling them a crap ton of clothes. And they're like, "Man, you should become a real estate agent." And I said, "Actually, I'm studying for my license right now. I take my test in like 2 weeks." And these people were real estate agents, and I'm like, "Man, who can go to Nordstrom and just like spend $5,000? Like that's so much money." And it was these real estate agents. Yeah. And I ended up working for them. That was my first experience in real estate. I worked at their office down in Little Italy, which is a amazing spot in San Diego. Tons of restaurants, lots of walkability. So I had a really cool office right on the main street. That's where I got my real estate license. And that's where I first started selling. I sold my first house 1 week in the business. And my first year, I sold 24 homes. So in San Diego, that's you'd be one of the top agents, top 1% for sure at that level, just because our price point and the number of agents towards the number of sales, it's pretty competitive city. So that was my first year. One thing though, is that I learned is that I was slowly becoming one of the best agents there. And I'm like, looking around, I was like, okay, I probably need to align myself with maybe someone else or a different group. And, came across a family friend. His name's Jesse Zagorski. He's actually at EXP now as well. He was an owner broker and I was an agent on his team. So that was my first team experience. Realtor.com leads, online inbound, just constant. So Jesse taught me an absolute ton about real estate. And I just learned more on like going on appointments, back to back. In the month of May, I think I sold 13 houses, 13 closings in 1 month.
Wow.
Which that's insane. Like I think about that now and I'm like, oh, back in my day, I'm that old man now. So when I was an agent on his team. Yeah, exactly. But was my first experience on a team. He taught me so much. I built Porchlight within that group. So he was an owner broker. He allowed me to build a team within. And then slowly but surely we're all now at EXP together, but different groups, but he's the guy kind of taught me the ins and outs of the traditional real estate that doesn't work and the online lead generation, which we all know about now. But this is 7 years ago. That was, new wave and people weren't shopping online. Like, the older agents were like, no one's going to buy a house from me from Zillow. That kind of mentality. But I learned all that through him. Incredible.
So those of you that have joined us late, again, this is how to close 1,000 transactions per year with Mark Pattison. And, some people are probably seeing that headline and saying, well, maybe we threw a zero on there. How did we end up with 1,000? Talk us through that a little bit. I'm sure there's people out there that are like, all right, Mark, well, that's 500 agents selling 2 homes a year. How many people are on the team?
I don't care how many agents are selling how many homes a year. People are all about like the per agent production. It's like, well, which city? If people are great culture fits and they sell 5 homes a year, are you going to fire them?
No,
I personally won't. I think those agents are fantastic. I don't mind them on my team at all. So my per agent production, it's not insane, but also I'm in San Diego where it's a lot tougher to sell a house than most cities. You got your top cities like, Austin, Texas, New York, San Diego. You go to other markets. I started a team in Houston. My first year agents were selling 30 houses their first year.
Wow.
That's impossible in San Diego. I've never once had a first year agent ever sell that here. And I have
What's your average price point? Is it over a million?
My team is right around 800,000.
Yeah.
So I occasionally sell. I jump back into production this year just for a little bit of like, hey, let's actually just had a closing about an hour ago, 3.1 million. But Congrats. That one, like I'll do those like past clients or referrals, friends and family, that kind of stuff. But most I will have my agents handle. But I mean, my team, we have, so the reason why I got the title 1,000 transactions, I did 1,046 transactions, not last year, sadly, but the year before. So in 2021, yes, the market was much crazier than what it is now, but I did 1,046 transactions. And of course I have a team right now. We're currently sitting, more or less 70 agents on Porchlight Realty and about 50 of them sell. So year to date, from January to May 31st, 52 agents have sold a home. So there's still about another, 18 agents that are either newer, going through training. We all know agents want to become agents, and then all of a sudden, or people want to become agents, and then they realize how tough it is.
Right.
So, there's always that person who's starting out. And at Porchlight, we encourage and we like new agents. On my other team, we also take experienced agents as well. So on my other group, which is a flipping company, agent facing, it's called Got Fixers. So if you check us out, gotfixers.com, that's a flipping team. We have a guy who did 110 deals himself last year. Flips. So yes, flips and wholesale. So there's a variety. And now my 1,000 transactions, by the way, guys, does not include any of that. That's a different company. But it's just, there's a different level, like, the per agent production thing. I don't know. I'm all for whatever. If someone's a good culture fit.
I wasn't necessarily trying to pick at that. I think what you've done a great job at is creating that culture where people want to be a part of something, right? I mean, it sounds cheesy, but this is a lonely business, right? I mean, there are people out there that are, a top producing agent in their office, but they don't have, they're not culturally surrounded by other like-minded agents, right? So, I mean, that was one of the big reasons we went over to EXP was collaboration, right? Let's find a way to surround ourselves with agents that are doing, enormous amounts of business like yourself. So, I don't think it necessarily matters so much about per agent productivity, unless maybe you have a team that's 5 to 10 agents.
Yeah, and there's if that's their focus and they're kind of set up on everything of how they do it. I think that's great. I think mine, just the way we have it set up with new agents, you never really know who's going to be, like absolutely crushing it. There's some agents where I'm like, I don't know if they'll ever make it. And then they start selling houses and you're like, shit, they surprised me.
Yep.
And I go after that new agent because I was a new agent when I started my team. And I felt, I'm not going to hire someone that's experienced. Shit, they would know more about it than I would.
Yeah.
So I slowly I've added a few agents here and there, but experienced agents, once they're on my team, they don't really last that long. I find that the more like new agents, they kind of grow up in Porchlight, they last and stay forever. And I have a path for them because I do own ancillaries. There is a path at Porchlight. Not everyone's on 50-50 their entire time they're at Porchlight. I do have, and we are profitable. Some people have 1 million team members and they're not running any profit. Like if you're in this business, you need to be profitable as a team leader. One thing that helps with that is EXP. I literally pay them nothing and they pay me money back. And, if you're confused by that, I was as well. I don't know how they even make money. I'm like, what? How does this company stay alive? You can ask John or myself, or there is reason behind it. But you need to align yourself first with the brokers that matters, that actually gives you cash back for having a team or doesn't charge you. Other sexy offices that are, Compass or someone else like, Coldwell Banker, Remax, if they don't have a cap, it's really hard to end up building a business there because if you're profitable at, 20%, 30%, and if you have a 10% split to the company, Compass or whomever, well, if you're only making 20% profit and you have to give 10% of your whole GCI away, you're literally giving away 50% of your profit. So you're on a 50-50 split. And as an owner, if you're only making 200 grand, you're going to give them $100,000 per rep,
Yeah.
So really look at your numbers there. And that's where you kind of got to start and have a good baseline with it. And, if you're going to go, then you got to look at, what agents on your team aren't causing you a bunch of trouble, making sure that you have the systems in place. And I've got a bunch of systems, whether you're a solo agent or if you're an agent leading a team. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to share with you guys to help you out, running that or running your own solo business too.
Talk to us about like your growth. I know you said 2 years ago it was 1,046 transactions. What was it the year prior? And was there a year where you had like a major growth spurt? Yeah,
it was that year. 1, COVID. 2, we moved to EXP, and my mindset shifted in the fact that more agents doesn't necessarily mean more headaches. So when I moved over, I met a guy. He was at EXP. His name's Chuck Fazio. He said, "Hey, Mark, I watch on social media. I think what you got going is great, but I think you're not thinking big enough." And I was like, "Oh shit." So older guy, been in real estate for many years, kind of a badass in Arizona. He's not in my upline. So like think family tree or even think office. He's not in that, but he is part of EXP. So he's part of a different group, but he's still the way EXP kind of thinks and the way EXP is, it's all about helping each other. And he said, "Mark, how many agents do you want on your team?" At the time, I just switched to EXP. So this is about 3 years and a couple months. And he said, how many agents do you have on your team? I said 15. He said, how many, why do you only have 15 agents? And I'm like, well, shit, like 15 agents is a lot of work. He's like, no, you should have 200. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want 200 headaches. He's like, no, it's actually less because then you can actually afford the people in place to help run the business. And now, I was running really, really thin on admin staff. Now I want to say I probably have like 15 employees. Through my different businesses, but they help run and they do meetings together because like I said, it's kind of like a WeWork. They all share, we have like one marketing group that shares their resources across the board. And I think
it's just economies of scale, right? You get to a certain, it's almost like when you own apartments, right? Or own like doors, right? Is the way that people refer to it. It's people think, owning 200 doors is 10 times more stressful than owning 20 doors. And I would argue it's not. You have one property manager who takes care of everything, right? You've got, snow removal company, landscaping, whatever it is. And
hold on. What's a snow
removal? I know. I knew that was coming. As soon as the words came out of my mouth, you were going to rub it in.
San Diego, we don't have snow.
Well, you lived in Chicago. You know what we're dealing with over here.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But yeah, we're looking at hiring a handyman that just installs our signs for our team and one that will so then we don't have to wait around for a handyman to go do repairs for one of our listings. We've got a list of vendors, but they get busy. Your vendors start getting their name out and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, there goes my, my painter. But now I got a guy who's part of, and he does all my property management stuff. He does all of our freaking stuff for our Airbnbs. He does all of our stuff for our stuff. So now I'm just going to bring him on salary.
Yeah. So so we were talking about the growth of the transactions. I know you said that you went from 15 agents before EXP to about 70 now.
Yeah.
So is that like 15, 40, 60, 70, that sort of thing? Like you've almost doubled your agent count each year?
Yeah, no, it wasn't necessarily. I actually grew pretty big and it's kind of stayed around that 50 to 70 range, more or less. So right away, that first year, it was like turn on the funnel and people were just wanting to join our team. Crazy thing is we never had a recruiter.
Why?
I think it's something, if you look us up online, so if you look up Porchlight Realty Team, look us up on Instagram, I think that people are attracted to what we provide. We provide a fun environment. You can ask questions, you can learn, you can make a lot of money, and people are drawn to that. So I think that, and there's a path, like I said, people don't stay on that 50-50 split. You graduate and there's different tiers of agents. Right now we have, mastery, elite, core, and foundation. So depending on where you're at and how you land up, it's kind of determines your splits. So that way you can kind of grow, you can graduate within Porchlight and get bigger and get more money and stay there. So it's helped us grow and keep retention. But yeah, we went from, just to give you an idea, 2020, we did 407 deals.
Wow.
So 2021, 1,046.
Yeah. So I imagine, a lot of times we talk about visionary and integrator role.
Yep.
Are you more of a visionary and you have a lot of great integrators in your company? So do you come up with the idea and bring it back and say, all right, you guys fucking figure it out?
Yep. So we definitely, EOS, we have a coach that basically runs this. So every single week on our meetings, they have they're called the WIN meetings. I don't know, I've never been on one. They're all for my integrators of each company, but they all come together and I come and just throw up ideas at them and then they kind of have to figure it out. But I mean, I'm a workhorse. I like doing tasks. I like doing, even if it just helps my brain relax. Like this weekend, I weeded our parking lot. I planted flowers for the front. I redid all this stuff at our office, rearranged things, made it look all nice, shampooed the carpets. So I'm a workhorse. I still get down and dirty and I'm not supposed to do that kind of stuff. I've been told I'm not supposed to replace the toilet paper in the bathroom. I'm like, but it's there. I gotta do it. I just cleaned the bathroom actually. So, but I don't know. I also think that there's also a level of respect. Like if someone's a CEO of a company and you walk in, you're kind of just like, you do this, you do that, like total, I'm not that way. I want to be
you
more
wouldn't ask anybody to do anything that you wouldn't do.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I want to be a collaborative environment. I don't want to be that boss that is that way. So I think that there is that fine line. Yes, you want to be someone who is, the visionary, but get their input. They're the ones who have to live through it. So let's see if it's actually doable, get their feedback. So for example, for our marketing gal, I wanted to find out what would be the best system for her to kind of manage all these different companies on one platform. And I sent her probably 5 or 6 recommendations I found. And I said, hey, you research and you come up with what you think, add to that list. Let's collaborate together and let's pick one versus me being like, here's the company, blah, blah, blah. I want her to have some part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what you need to do as a leader is kind of figure out what works for both. And I think this is, for solo agents, with your vendors, your escrow, your people that, your attorneys or people that you work with, make it more of a collaborative environment so that when someone, if you're building your team, when someone says, oh, hey, do you know any real estate teams? Those vendors of yours are like, oh my God, you got to go join John. You got to go join Mark.
Yeah.
Because that you treat them with respect, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's super important to align yourself with some really, really strong vendors. I mean, now when you say ancillary services, you guys have a mortgage company as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have mortgage, escrow, which is like your attorneys. Yeah, you're an attorney state. So we just hand it to escrow. Escrow does all the paperwork stuff, but we as agents still manage the transaction. We have escrow. We don't have title because in our state, there's title, which kind of runs the background and sees what's going on with the house, make sure the owners are the owners and they do title insurance. And then escrow, they handed that off to them.
Right.
Yep. And then we have our flipping stuff is getting very, very big. So that's kind of my baby, my focus right now. And then same thing with my property management, 31 Beaches, which is short-term rentals.
Yeah. I've been seeing you post a lot about the Airbnbs you've done this year. It's exciting to see the growth on that, man. Those, it seems like they've come a long way. Were those just, potential listings that you guys converted or that you purchased? Do you have partners on that?
No, it's a mix.
Talk to us a little bit about some of those.
Yeah. So what happened was I had a property manager and I was getting I'm supposed to get my monthly statements and I look and I'm like, man, I haven't received one in a while. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I got one and it said I made $600 for the month. Mind you guys, I'm in San Diego. San Diego's like tourist destination of the world year round. Yeah. It's always nice here. I'm like, there's never been, and I used to manage it. I'm like, there's never been a time I've ever made $600 on that property ever. And it's a duplex. There's 2 freaking units. My mortgage is only 22 or 2,300, but I'm like, there's never a time that I don't just absolutely crush. And I'm saying like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 a month. So I said, screw this. Right then and there, I started a property management company. So I'm like, I'll figure it out on my own. If anything, I'll just have a guy, whatever profit I make over, I'll pay my guy a split on it. And that'll kind of be my baseline to launch this thing. So I figured if I pay him a commission 50-50 on whatever I'm making on my own property, and then slowly but surely, because our clients, when you sell 1,000 homes, mind you, that was 2021. But when you're selling a lot of homes, you are then going and getting these people and they're asking you for, hey, do you know a property manager? Do you know this? Oh, hey, we already have it. Bring it in-house. So we've naturally, without any advertising, any paid advertising, have brought our team. I think we're now at like 18 units that we're property managing for this. And we started in December. So our goal is to get to 50 for the year and going to grow from there. Some of them we own. Some of them are agents on our team own. Some of them are clients. Some people are just people who found us. So it's a mix where we're coming across these people. And, one thing, if you're looking to do this kind of thing, is it's a lot of work. And I would say that, as the visionary, I'm not the integrator for the company. So I'm not the one doing the day-to-day task. Find someone who's a great integrator for you. If you're just the ideas board, that's what you need to get. You need to kind of have like a yin to your yang to basically make everything work. And, shared services, I've got my marketing. You guys have anything online. You can go to Fiverr, Upwork, create your sites. It's easy. Yep. So it's, any of these businesses you guys could all start up and then create your own little ecosystem that I've created.
But it's fair to say that your real estate team, your brokerage model, is what funds everything else, right? Because I mean, if you weren't closing, 50 to 100 transactions a month, you wouldn't be able to, that title company would, or the insurance company wouldn't be busy. The finance company wouldn't be busy.
Right? For sure. I mean, I'd figure it out, but yeah, I would go in. I mean, so yes, but our businesses are also not just relying on us. So for all of our businesses, they do business outside of my team. So I've got things going, and basically what I'm doing for each person is I'm going to have an acquisitions person. Sorry, I got a cord underneath me. I'm going to have an acquisitions person for each company as well. So you've got your visionary, which is me for everything, the CEO. Then you have your integrators. So it's kind of like your lead member, maybe like almost like a president of each company. They're the one who gets it done. And then I want someone who's running like sales. So for escrow or attorneys, they have a sales rep that goes out, usually a pretty good looking person, kind of, hey, real estate agents, you should use us. We're now doing that for all of our businesses as well. And the person can kind of work multiple businesses. So one of our callers for our flipping team, he actually calls for short-term rentals down. So he himself is obsessed with short-term rentals, loves talking about it. So he was like, man, I can make just as much money on this end, just getting these short-term rentals signed up. So we just now started doing that, where we're having. And
you guys are managing for them.
Yep. Yeah. So they basically just like convince them to switch their services to us. And same thing, like I said, I used my personal residence, not my house, but like my personal property to start my short-term management. But it wasn't the team. The team does feed to it, but you guys could do this on your own without the team doing sales numbers.
Yeah.
It gives you credibility. It helps you out. But I think that if you're waiting for something, because I mean, yeah, I did 1,000, but look, there's people out there that are doing 5,000.
Right.
You can start probably with 100.
Well, I think what's interesting about you is that, you transition from realtor to leader. And that's what we talk to a lot of people about on the podcast. Right. And I know when I've tried to do that, it's always a work in progress, but there's a totally different skill set. So let's take a step back for a second and talk about that. I mean, how was that transition from top producing realtor? Right. I know you sort of hit the ground running for sure when you first came to San Diego, but how did you transition into more of like a CEO position? I hate to use that because people at Keller Williams will call themselves CEO of, a 5-person team, but, you are a CEO, right? I mean, you're running multiple different companies and a lot of different, things at once. Talk to us about that transition into more of a leadership role.
Yeah. So I think that I'm good at, I think I'm good with people. So there's people that are good real estate agents. Like, for example, like people always say like, oh, I don't want to work with buyers. Like not on my team. My agents love working with buyers for the most part. There's maybe like a few that are total drivers that don't want to deal with like, oh, the countertops are cute. I don't want to talk about that. But I personally have always liked buyers. So I, as an agent, don't think I had to change too many skill sets to be able to be the chameleon for being a good leader. I don't think real estate agents make good leaders. That's why most real estate agents as team leaders fail.
Right.
They're not good business people. So it's like, well, just because you can sell houses doesn't mean you can do this. I always laugh about it too. Is like my real estate coach is Tom Ferry. And they're like, well, Tom Ferry's never sold a house. And I said, okay, how many Olympic coaches have, won the Olympics or even been in the Olympics?
Right.
Being something and doing something and coaching on it is totally different. You can be a good team leader and never have sold a house ever.
Exactly.
So I think it's just me personally. I think it's not like something I magically came up with. I grew up around entrepreneurs. I was the only person who ever worked for someone else in my entire family. My uncle worked for Microsoft when it first started. He was the 9th employee. And then I worked for Microsoft, my first job out of college. And my dad was like, why would you ever want to work at Microsoft? He's like, that sounds awful. Like, not like most dads would be like, oh, good job. You got a 401k and you're making 75,000 as a 20-year-old. My dad was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone do. So
what did your father do?
My family's owned businesses their whole life, like everything. So I mean, just
so it's in your blood.
Yeah. So like to work for someone else just seems crazy. And so I think that I have that growing up my whole life. So I can't I don't want to say like it's not teachable, but I think I have like a leg up on someone because I grew up around it. Also, I went to business school. I don't think that education is anything important, but it's good to have a baseline, but, most schools and most universities are bullshit. But I went to Seattle University Business School, which it's like a feeder school for Microsoft and Amazon and all those Boeing. So lots of top companies hire out of there. So I probably learned some decent leadership skills there. But the way that the world's changing, you guys have YouTube, you've got ChatGPT, like all this stuff. Don't go to college unless you're getting a full ride or your parents are paying for it. Most of the time, it's just a waste of money. If you're thinking about business changes so quickly. And as a leader, I think you just need to constantly stay on your skills. One thing is, it's just like parenting. Look at people who have really good children. It's based off, usually what I've seen is mutual respect. Parents that are just like, come down on their kids and give them tons of rules. I know my cousins had those types of parents. They all turned into freaking crackheads.
Revolt.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
They were like drug addicts for a long time. And these kids were all like super private school Christian kids that went crazy. Yep. So don't do that to your employees either. Don't be that boss that's the helicopter parent. As a leader, you need to be someone who can help them see their visions, see their goals. I ask them all the time. I check in. I'm like, and then when I do, I put notes in my phone, kind of like a CRM, underneath what the person about, I put in their coffee drink order. I put in their goals of what they want to achieve. If they just randomly tell me something, I'll save it. So then I can check in with them and be like, hey, da-da-da. And I just look at the notes. I even have people saved in my phone, like if they're vegan, like this guy that I meet up with for data for real estate, he's a vegan. So I never want to like mention to him a non-vegan restaurant. One, I think it's rude because I'm not paying attention. And knowing my ass being so busy, I would be like, oh, do you want to go to like steak place and go get steak and potatoes? And he's like, Mark, I'm a vegan. I've already told you 12 times. You got to save those things in your phone. Use your phone and your technology to your advantage, and taking care of people. All of a sudden people want to work for you. That's what happened with my flipping team. People were drawn. Like I said, I've never had a recruiter for Porchlight. Flipping team, I've never had a recruiter. We just brought someone on who, the guy, he did 110 deals last year. So you treat people right, word gets out, you keep treating them right, they stay. It's kind of a surprising formula.
So what's your relationship with the flipping team? Like how obviously I imagine he was drawn to come to you because he said, hey, you guys could feed me deals. So talk to us about how that relationship came about. If you can share some of the numbers, or how you guys at least, partner on deals, or just give us at least like an overview.
So on our flip team now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 guys on our flipping team. 7. So 7 guys. Maybe this gal, one of our agents from our team, she might join and mix it up with the boys. But what happened was my buddy and I were doing flips. Now we were just doing them with our team. Obviously we come across deals or come across something, we're going to take it in. We weren't crazy prospecting. We weren't going after it. But so what we did was, once that word got out, because people knew I was showing up to, maybe a couple real estate flipping events, etc., people found out that Porchlight, my team, was flipping as well. So once we kind of got the word out there, people were noticing. A year later, some people that had been in the industry that had left a recent team said, hey, we hear everything about your Porchlight team and everyone loves to work for you. We want to come interview for you. And it was kind of a hard kind of situation because the other company is someone that I know and I respect. And I've got that relationship in the industry, and I didn't want to hire their employees. Mind you, they told me they're like, we're leaving no matter what. We want to go with you. So they left. They had already left, but they were coming to me after that. And I'm like, okay, well, I feel more comfortable.
So they were linked up with another real estate brokerage before.
Yep. So another team, kind of the same situation like Porchlight. Been there for many years, decided, hey, to part ways. And then they said they didn't want to do it on their own. They wanted to partner with the team. And it just kind of launched from there. So it's more of, I'm letting them kind of do their own thing. So they're the integrator. I am the visionary and I say, hey, this is what I want. But with the experience that they're bringing to the table, that integrator now has more kind of responsibility, but also more almost clout. Like they get to make more decisions. And I don't necessarily have to be too much of a visionary for that company because of the experience that we brought in. It makes it a little bit easier to run. Usually I'm the one that's putting someone from Porchlight in place at one of the companies. Whereas this one, it kind of happened to work where the person was leaving another company, had left, was kind of working around for about a month or two, and then decided to come join us.
Cool. So how many transactions do you guys think you'll do this year?
For the real estate team or the flip team?
The flip team.
We're probably going to get around like 30 flips, probably.
Great.
Wholesales and everything else. I would say we'll probably have another 70 wholesales.
So you're personally a part of all of those, or are they doing some deals outside of the company?
No, they have to all be in.
Awesome.
Yep. They're all within the company.
Yeah. And would you say, how are you feeding that division? Is it like, hey, we were about to list this property over on 123 Main Street, and you know what? It doesn't necessarily work as like a retail deal. Not, MLS ready. It's something that, the seller needs to close in 3 weeks, and we can buy it cash and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So that's probably going to be about maybe 5% of that, but it's not a big part because as agents, we know putting it on the MLS is going to be the best for them. We want to get the most for our sellers. So the agent's going to want to present that, but we also present every listing we have. We also present a cash offer. So we say, hey, look, this may be for you. This may not be for you. This is just what our agents do for Porchlight. Cash offer, investor offer from maybe a hedge fund. And then this offer here is what we think you could list your home at. This one, we don't know the terms. We don't know the pricing. We don't know the time. But if you want the most money, you need to go with that way, traditional listing. If you want certainty and you just want to like close up, go with this one. If you want to close like today or tomorrow, go with this one.
Yeah. So
it's all about meeting them on their terms. That where they end up going that route is going to be about very slim to none. Maybe a few here and there would go with us on that deal. Most of them are going to be from us, prospecting. Another one is agent to agent relationships. So maybe an agent that comes across a deal in the marketplace, they don't flip. They don't have the means. They don't have the funds. They bring it to us.
Awesome.
So that's probably about 30% of our deals. And then the remainder is cold calling through data that we have and, our team of 6 that are calling. Great.
Yeah. So I know one of the other things that you're talking about that's a little bit more outside the box is the coffee company. Talk to us about that. What made you set that up, and what's in the works for that?
I kind of like laugh at myself because I kind of forget I have these things.
Well, every time I talk to you, it's some other craziness. And then it somehow just works out incredibly well every time. See, my crazy ideas don't have the same projection.
I have a formula. You just need to hang around me more. Let's do more masterminds and
let's do it, man.
So my next one is a marketing agency. So I want Maverick in the name somehow.
You guys see, by the way, I asked him about the coffee company and he's already onto a marketing agency.
I said, we'll get to the coffee thing, but I'm telling you my formula. So everyone, this is the important part. Listen up. It's a shared, remember we were talking about shared resources? Well, I'm like, well, shit, if this marketing team can launch these different companies successfully and we can do this, what's the hardest thing to get? It's the customer. So one, I think it starts if you're going to get customers, you can handle them yourself. It's one thing. But then if you're going to have multiple customers, you need more staff to handle them. Well, if you treat your staff right and your staff treats your customers right, you don't need to pay so much for marketing and all that. It's more of it's just wildfire. I just hired my first marketing person ever 3 months ago. So it's crazy. You don't need marketing. You need to treat your people right. And then it's word of mouth referrals.
Yeah.
So that's how I built my whole business. Now, if you go and
you also have so many things to sell them that
not in the beginning, no.
Well, but you can just bring them through though. I know not in the beginning, but now, right? I mean, you could sell somebody a home, and then if they decide to move from San Diego to, I don't know, Seattle, right? Yep. They can Airbnb it and you can take over that and help them with that. And if they need to use your contractor, they can use that. And if they close and they buy a new house in California, you can help them finance it. And you can help them get insurance.
Even then.
So you're selling, would you say you're selling oftentimes the same customer, multiple different products?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Gucci says they're a lifestyle brand. I think Porchlight's now a lifestyle brand. I need to come out with my
until you come out with loafers. Yeah.
Yeah. My conglomerate of Porchlight is not, they're all different names. So it's not like Porchlight Insurance, we have the different groups within it. But yeah, so the coffee company, what I was thinking though, is with all this branding that I'm doing, I'm like, I'm going to create the marketing agency and go in and help small businesses get stuff up in order. So if you know of any small businesses, all that kind of stuff, we're going to effectively launch the second we have a client. I'm bringing them on, and I've already kind of creating everything and just coming up with names and logo and branding, which I will have done probably in about an hour. No, I just come up with it. One thing is use AI for your benefit. I created an entire employee manual, an SOP for onboarding a new client, contract for a new client. Obviously, have it looked at by an attorney, especially when you're in California. But all that stuff, all from ChatGPT. Yep. Literally one after another. You just have to think, what do I need to run a business? Bam, 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 implement. That's all you have to do. And then it's all done. So for the coffee shop is not open yet. I know in the beginning you said I had it running, but it's actually... the building is being built out right now. So it'll probably open in about 3 months. So
of course you couldn't take an existing space. You had to build a building.
I bought the building. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you need to own your real estate. I don't think you should rent anything. I don't know. I don't like being a tenant. So I wanted to buy the building, but I'm now out of money. So I have to be, I got to keep making money. I do this and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Buy the building. And then I'm now depleted. But so I'm remodeling it. And it's going to be probably operational in about 3 months. What I found was it was a dream of mine. It's more of a passion project. It's called Porchlight Coffee. So real estate name, coffee shop, same name. And I'm going to have Porchlight Coffee and Realty. So there's going to be a Realty office space where people can go and meet clients and, do meetups, kind of do hangouts. I have an alcohol company too. So I'm the investor, but we're going to do like pop-ups on there. Yeah. So pop-ups on that where we can end up doing, Saturday nights, we can do our alcohol there and have a DJ, all this stuff to kind of promote that alcohol because it's 3 blocks to the beach. It's in a beach vibe. So it's perfect space and perfect location for it. But my idea is I want these coffee shops all around town. So when these agents are out and about meeting clients, oh, hey, meet me at Porchlight Coffee, coffee on us, closing gifts, coffee bags, all that stuff. So it's easy. It's just like, I don't know. It all makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And what do you need when you run a business or run a company? You just need good people. If you have good people, so like my coffee shop, you have 2 different mindsets of people. One that says, oh my God, I can't believe people make $15 an hour, or what's our minimum wage now? $15.50 an hour, I think, in California. Okay. You got that mindset. Or you have me that says, screw minimum wage. I'm paying everyone $20 an hour. Right. I want you to be able to actually afford an apartment in the area that you're going to work in. How much is it to live here? Let's reverse engineer it. And this is what I'm just going to have to do to make it work. Yeah. Well, what kind of people do you think I'm going to get that are going to work there? I'll make up whatever it cost me in the interim of like what it would have cost me if I would just paid a minimum wage employee. 100%. So one thing I heard if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. I love that saying.
I do like that.
So pay your people more and you're going to get freaking better people. Mind you, there's and my staff knows like if you can be replaced, that your wages are going to be different than if you cannot be replaced. So make yourself irreplaceable.
Exactly. And, I think maybe this should have been titled, how to add on the ancillary services, whatever it is, but the common
how to launch
theme,
1,000 businesses.
Yeah, how to launch 1,000 businesses in 49 minutes. It's the common theme of today seems to be, hiring great people, right? It all comes back to the culture. Like you said before, I think, I don't want to butcher it. You said somebody who does 3 or 4 deals on your team per year, you're not going to let them go if they're a great culture fit, right?
Yeah,
of course. So
and check in with them. Like with your people, we just hired one of our agents that was kind of getting burned out of being an agent to being now she's the head of our sales and our HR and things. It's a little scary to do it, but it always works out, like I said. And then I now just talked to a girl who's been an agent on our team and she's getting burned out. And she's like, hey, started talking to her about long-term property management, but we need a broker for it because our brokerage doesn't want you doing property management. So now I have a different, we need to have a broker for it. I'm like, let's figure this out. I want to take care of her. She's a good human. She's just burnt out on sales.
Yeah.
Like, so don't let that person go if you can kind of, keep it going.
Yeah. If you can find another opportunity for them within one of these companies.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's surrounding yourself with good people. And I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways over the last couple of years. And one of the, again, not to make this a thing about EXP, but proximity. I mean, that's just a word that we use every single day, me and Kiro. That was the reason we started the podcast, right? Selfishly, we were like, we should challenge ourselves to have one high level conversation every single week with somebody who intimidates us or somebody who's doing what we want to do at a very high level. And it's just proximity, surrounding yourself. Like you said, I need to hang out with you more to figure out how to do more. Right. And, just that. And then again, that just to sort of wrap this up, that's the reason we're doing these webinars, right? To figure out what other people are doing. And again, the beautiful thing about collaborating with someone like yourself is you're an open book, right? I mean, you and I have shared SOPs, we've shared scripts, we've shared manuals, we've shared hiring strategies, all sorts of different things. And everybody's willing to share and collaborate, which is a rare thing in real estate. A lot of times people sort of keep everything buttoned up, especially within your own market, right? And that has not been the case. So I always appreciate your willingness to open.
No, and also like you're talking about in your own market, 3 of the top 10 teams in our company are in my market.
Kyle and Dan, right?
Yeah, Kyle, Dan, and myself. And we share stuff. Kyle and I text each other. One, we text screenshots of like who's winning. I think he's beating me. Well, as of yesterday, he was beating me. But we screenshot and like just like total bullshit. He actually has his moving trucks are right out front of our office. They use the parking lot right there. And it's like he has 3 moving trucks.
And you let the air out of the tires?
No. I'll take pictures. I'm like, I'm so glad that 2 of them are actually being used. I never see these dang things ever being used. I was scared you got out of the business.
Good.
So like we always take care of each other on like that, but we're in the same market. EXP mindset, mind you, it's not EXP, it's the people that we created. And then EXP like exaggerates it. It's kind of like what I've done at Porchlight. Porchlight brings the good out of people. And that's how I'm able to create all these companies, because of the people. Without people, no matter how much AI we have, we still need people, and it's going to still need to have employees. We're going to still, jobs will be thinned out and there will be different jobs that are created, but you got to have good people backing you up. And that's how it freaking works. Should we give some tips on how to sell 1,000 houses though?
Yeah. In these last 12 minutes. No, but I think what you said there though, again, is people need to find a way to make themselves invaluable, right? Yeah. You can't, if you are in a position where you are working for somebody else, whether you're on a real estate team or you're a full-time employee, if you're replaceable, then that's your own damn fault, right? You got to put in the extra effort. You got to make yourself irreplaceable and come in and add value every single day. And then you're going to get a percentage of that overall value.
As an agent, that's exactly your job every day. Someone else can replace you as an agent. I say to my agents that are new, I said, would you hire you to sell your house or would you hire me to sell your house? And why?
Yeah.
That's exactly the same thing in real estate. You're replaceable. If you are not, then you're probably crushing it. And if you are good, and then it's a work ethic thing. Something's off. But yeah, biggest thing, getting to the 1,000 deals for myself, guys, it goes back and it's the same kind of theme. It's relationships. I did not have someone in marketing, so we weren't doing farming. We weren't doing social media ads. I was building relationships with different lead providers. Why would I want to go and create the lead when Zillow, which by the way, Zillow, one of our partners, why would I want to create the lead if one of these companies can give it to us and they're the better person at creating the lead? Right. All these companies are marketing companies. So partner with marketing companies. On it, we have, you should always have 4 different lead pillars. So, your sphere of influence, your past clients, maybe open houses, cold calling, prospecting, whatever it is. Focus on 4 different ones at all given times. I think it's important to do a miracle morning and even maybe like a miracle evening. Set yourself up for success for the next day, so you're not running around with your head chopped off. Give your time for travel. And it sounds funny, but all these little tiny things compounded over time provide great results and great success. Because if you have everything in order, your finances, your mindset, your health, like you become unstoppable. You become to where like you don't have anxiety, you don't have fear. Anxiety is because of unknowns or something that you didn't plan for, or maybe you're just poor planning. But if you plan it out and you set expectations right, there's no anxiety.
100%.
I really don't have anxiety. It's not a thing. And I have all these companies running. And I would like to think most of my team does not have anxiety, or my agents or my staff. Like, to be able to create a workplace like that. But if you can create your own little environment where you don't have that, then you can just compound it and build on it. If you're always a freaking stressed case, like you can't grow. And mind you, there is a stress when you do change things up and when you implement something new. But if you have the roadmap, after a few times, it just becomes like, oh, yep, we'll have a meeting. We're going to check with finances to see if we can add that person. Now, if we can add that person, when do we need them to have a profitable ROI by? Okay, there we go. It just becomes a math formula.
Yeah.
And it's because of all the miracle mornings and the miracle evenings that I've done, and the setting up my day for success and compound, surrounding yourself with great people. Sure enough, listening on podcasts, but then implementing. That's all you do.
I think that's one of the things too I've learned from you, where I just know about you, is that you implement really, really quickly. Like, you're the kind of guy that will go to an event where you'll listen to a mastermind or part of a webinar, you'll hear something, and you'll literally turn around and implement it the next day. And I think that's the difference between some monster people who are doing really, really big things and people that are just sort of in the same place year over year. They come back, they execute, they don't give a shit if it's perfect or not. Let's put it into place tomorrow and we'll improve it as we go.
The team has a phrase for it: move at the speed of Mark. I kid you not. It's move at the speed of Mark. Like, implement.
Yeah.
So,
and shit's not going to be perfect.
No, not at all.
We say it all the time. Action is better than perfection. Just take action. You'll figure it out later. Commit. Yeah. Commit to the opportunity, right? You know, if a great deal comes across your plate, and you don't necessarily have the money in the bank right now, commit. You'll find the money, whether it's through partnerships like EXP or people in your brokerage or your friends and family. You'll find the way to get the transaction done. Talk to us in the last few minutes here. You know, I'm sure there's some people are saying, well, Mark's just got it all figured out. Everything he touches just, turns to gold, and he's got all these successful things going on. Talk to us about some of the things that you've learned, or some of the struggles you've had over the last couple of years. Maybe some of the things that didn't work out, or some of the things that, big lessons you learned, some things you may have done differently looking back.
Yeah. So I'm really bad at hiring, meaning I find great people, but I'm not the best about like following systems every single time for that new hire. So I don't go through all the different stuff that I should. So now I have someone that's in charge of it. Yeah. So I think it's important to always realize what you're good at, what you're not good at, pass it off. Find someone that really likes it. So mistakes or things, I think that there's always, it's part of the journey. I don't really like to dwell on what happened, or I don't have like any scenarios, because I kind of just pivot. If something's not working, I can recognize it. And the way I can recognize it is I track and measure everything. So we go and we'll see what's not working, and we'll be like, okay, we need more of this. Like, we need to pivot this way. But I mean, guys, I have nothing figured out. I've got like a little bit. I'm not super analytical on the fact of having like my KPI set up for every business. I want to have a CEO dashboard. That's something we're working on this year, to have this very successful, everything in one place, kind of check out the business. But yeah, it's always a work in progress. Nothing will ever be perfect. So I don't think that there's ever, if you lead with a great head on your shoulders and you're ethical, I don't think there's ever true mistakes. I think there's like lessons learned, but yeah. We pivot so quickly that the lessons learned are kind of far and few between. Yeah. We don't let them become instrumental.
Yeah. But even you just saying that, once you hire somebody, making sure they go through the right stages, the right way, and the same way each time, and, SOP type integration, right. Is, you admitting that, is a huge win, because you figured it out, right? And then you just go and hire for somebody for that, right?
Yeah, I'm not an integrator. I'm not someone who does the integration. I'm the one who comes up with the idea. I'm great at mapping it out, but I'm horrible at following the checklist. But that's what a visionary and an implementer do. That's why you need that yin to your yang, like we said.
Exactly.
And this is the same thing like your transaction coordinator. If you're a badass listing agent, you need a listing coordinator that can do all that. So you can just go out and execute one after another, be the closer, pass it off to your listing coordinator so they can fine tune the details. So you don't forget. I forgot I had my closing yesterday, 3.1 million. My clients are like, hey, what time are we closing? I was like, oh yeah.
Is that today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was yesterday. Now it was actually today. I'm like, fuck. Like that's my mindset because I've got too many things, but I'm not an integrator. I'm a visionary.
Yeah. It also means you hired a great transaction coordinator who got the deal on track, on pace, so much so that you didn't have to be involved.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, this has been incredible. I really do appreciate you spending some time with us today. Anything else that you want to share just in closing?
Call your leads. No, that's all I can say is if you want to close deals, you got to call leads. You got to talk to more people. Reverse engineer your goals. Whatever you want to do, track and measure how many deals you want to do. I always say it's better to track and measure what you want to buy. So like maybe a duplex or a triplex. But if you're buying luxury items, and it's not coming from your passive income from either EXP rev share or your duplex or triplex overage in cash flow, then you shouldn't be buying luxury items. Get your systems in place so that you can just reverse engineer how much it's going to cost you for that multi-unit, how many calls you have to do. Then all you do is just say, okay, for every 12,000 dials, I get to buy a new place. And then you just think, all right, I'm just going to dial. And then you can cold call or prospect or do open houses, whatever your systems are. Pretty soon you're going to be sitting back with all these rentals. And what truly matters isn't how many homes you sell, it's how many homes you buy. So think about that method versus just only about, selling more homes.
Yeah. Connecting the dots between your goals and the activities you need to do to get there.
Yep. We do it. It's called Financial Fridays. We reverse engineer everything. Makes it a lot easier to think, okay, for every, X number of dials I do, I get to buy a new duplex or a triplex or a fourplex.
I remember, I think it was like a year ago, I had just purchased a new Land Rover. And like that day or the next day, you posted something that said landlord over before Land Rover. And it was just it really it was a big gut check.
That's my Financial Fridays. Yeah, you got to be a landlord before you have a Land Rover.
I liked it. Thank God I was a landlord before I had the Rover, but
dude, my rentals, I've got a freaking badass house. I mean, badass to me, I'm happy with it.
It's pretty badass. I've seen the photos.
It's paid for by the rentals. Yep. Like, I don't have to work because the rentals, and mind you, I moved here 10 years ago on a moped into a really shitty apartment where like I wouldn't want to even stay one night there right now. Like I didn't get, I didn't figure this all out it took a while, but slowly but surely. But the cool thing is all of it comes from passive income.
Yep.
Changes your mindset when you want to work versus you get to work, or have to work. People are like, man, you work a lot. I'm like, yeah, but you go to a job you hate. Like that sucks. That's way worse than going to a job I love more often.
Yeah. I think the biggest eye opener for me recently was just to me, like Wednesdays and Saturdays feel very much alike, right? Like there's no Sunday scaries, and when you like what you're doing, it all sort of blends together.
Yep.
So awesome, man. Well, again, such a great pleasure spending some time with you, learning from you, collaborating with you. If anybody wants to reach out and collaborate with you directly or connect with you directly, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah. So I don't know if in my name, Mark Pattison Show is my Instagram. Easiest way to add me on Instagram, shoot me a DM. Happy to share anything. I've got a few checklists I can send you. Add me on there and then shoot me a DM if you have any questions.
Tell everybody about the boot camp you have coming up too.
Oh yeah. So next month, which is June 19th and 20th, it's a Monday, Tuesday, Palm Springs. We've got some amazing guest speakers. So we have an amazing lineup that we're going to have. It's basically a mastermind. So think small group. Maybe I think we have 50 agents so far signed up. I try to keep it small intentionally, but we got a really nice hotel right in the middle of downtown Palm Springs. Sit and just mastermind and just hash out everything for business. I mean, one of the things I'll go over will be how I launch my businesses, how we're going to share this marketing as a shared service, how I share finances, all that stuff. It's basically, let's open our playbooks, help each other out and succeed. So if you're wanting to come out to Palm Springs, shoot me a DM for that or shoot John and we can get you set up too.
Awesome. I got to buy my ticket. I'm definitely going to be there.
Yes.
Awesome.
Dude, let's have you out.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All righty, man. Yeah. Hey, one thing you could do, John, fly to San Diego and then road trip from San Diego to Palm Springs. So if it's easier to fly direct to San Diego, then you could see my office, shadow here for like a day, and then go to Palm Springs.
I'm down. How far is the drive?
2 hours. It's easy.
Or go after?
Or you go after, or you go to Colton's before and direct over. Just if you need a flight from New Jersey.
I'll do the whole damn road trip.
Yeah.
All right. Doesn't take much to convince me to go out to California. I'm in.
Well, Jersey or California?
All right. I'm glad we ended on that note.
Bye, man.
Awesome.